The emergence of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula around 630 CE, following the death of the Prophet Muhammad, marked the dawn of a transformative faith that would reshape human history. From its origins in the desert cities of Mecca and Medina, Islam unified the fragmented Arab tribes under a monotheistic vision rooted in the Quran, sparking a rapid expansion that created a global civilization, driven by spiritual zeal, political consolidation, and the strategic leadership of the Rashidun Caliphs. This pivotal moment laid the foundation for Islam's spread across the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond. This exploration delves into the religious, political, and cultural origins of Islam, the archaeological and historical evidence illuminating its early development, and its profound significance as a catalyst for Homo sapiens' interconnected world. The religious roots of Islam in the early 7th century. The Arabian Peninsula was a region of tribal diversity, polytheistic beliefs, and competing trade networks. Mecca, a bustling commercial and religious center, housed the Kaaba, a sacred shrine revered by Arab tribes for its association with monotheistic traditions linked to Abraham. It was here that Muhammad, born around 570 CE, received divine revelations starting in 610 CE, which were later compiled into the Quran, Islam's holy text. These revelations, emphasizing monotheism, social justice, and submission to Allah, challenged the polytheistic practices of the Quraysh, Mecca's dominant tribe. Muhammad's teachings unified the Arab tribes under a single faith, fostering a sense of community and purpose. By 622 CE, facing persecution, he migrated to Medina, the Hijra, establishing a Muslim community, Ummah, that blended religious and political authority. By his death in 632 CE, Muhammad had unified much of Arabia, creating a foundation for Islam's expansion. The Quran's emphasis on equality, charity, and devotion provided a spiritual framework that resonated across tribal divides, setting the stage for a broader mission to share the faith. Political consolidation and the Rashidun Caliphs. The death of Muhammad in 632 CE could have fragmented the nascent Muslim community, but the appointment of Abu Bakr as the first Caliph successor ensured continuity. The Rashidun Caliphs, 632-661 Sheikh, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali provided strong leadership, consolidating Arabia and launching campaigns to spread Islam beyond its borders. The Ridda Wars, 632-633 CE, fought under Abu Bakr to subdue rebellious tribes, solidified Muslim unity, demonstrating the political strength of the caliphate. The Rashidun Caliphs leveraged Arabia's tribal military traditions, channeling them into disciplined campaigns against the weakened Byzantine and Sasanian empires. The Battle of Yarmouk, 636 CE, secured the Levant, while the conquest of Egypt, 639-642 CE, established a foothold in North Africa. Archaeological and historical evidence. Archaeological and historical evidence illuminates the early development of Islam. In Mecca and Medina, early Islamic sites, such as the Masjid al-Haram, Kaaba, and Masjid al-Nabawi, revealed the religious centers where Muhammad's teachings were formalized. While direct 7th century artifacts are scarce due to continuous use, inscriptions and early Quranic manuscripts, such as fragments from the Sana manuscripts approximately 7th century, provide evidence of the Quran's early codification, reflecting the faith's rapid spread. In the Levant, inscriptions from the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, approximately 691 CE, bear early Islamic declarations, including the Shahada Islamic profession of faith, marking the establishment of Muslim rule. Coins from the Rashidun period, found in Syria and Iraq, feature Arabic script and Islamic symbols, indicating administrative consolidation. In Egypt, excavations at Fustat, the first Islamic capital approximately 641 CE, uncover pottery, glassware, and early mosques, reflecting the integration of Islamic governance and culture. Cultural and social foundations. The dawn of Islam was not only a religious and political event, but also a cultural transformation. The Quran's emphasis on social justice, charity, and community appealed to marginalized groups, including the poor and enslaved, fostering a sense of equality among Muslims. This inclusivity, as seen in Medina's diverse ummah, transcended tribal divisions, creating a unified cultural identity that supported expansion. The pre-Islamic Arabian tradition of poetry and oral storytelling, preserved in works like the Mu'allaqat, was adapted to spread Islamic teachings, with poets reciting Quranic verses. The Kaaba, repurposed as Islam's holiest site, became a symbol of continuity, linking pre-Islamic monotheistic traditions to the new faith. These cultural elements, combined with the political unity of the Caliphate, created a robust foundation for Islam's spread, as discussed in later explorations. Cognitive and organizational ingenuity. The emergence of Islam required significant cognitive and organizational skills. Muhammad's ability to unify tribes through diplomacy and religion reflects Homo sapiens' capacity for social coordination, as discussed in Chapter 9 of the Homo sapiens series. The codification of the Quran, completed under Uthman, approximately 650 CE, demanded literacy and organizational skills, as seen in early manuscripts. The Rashidun Caliphs' military and administrative systems, coordinating campaigns across vast regions, highlight a sophisticated bureaucracy, foreshadowing the Umayyad Caliphate's expansion. The transmission of Islamic teachings, through oral recitation and written texts, required communication skills, likely involving Proto-Arabic scripts, as discussed in Chapter 4 of the Homo sapiens series. This cognitive and organizational ingenuity enabled Islam to spread rapidly, uniting diverse communities under a shared faith. Broader significance. The dawn of Islam in 632 CE marked a turning point in human history, setting the stage for a global civilization. The religious and political unity forged in Arabia, supported by the Quran's teachings and the Caliphate's leadership, created a dynamic force that spread across continents. The integration of Arabian traditions with conquered cultures, as seen in early Islamic sites, laid the foundation for a multicultural empire, as explored in subsequent discussions. The legacy of this early period influenced later developments. From the Umayyad and Abbasid caliphates to modern Islamic societies, the principles of unity, justice, and devotion established in 632 CE continue to shape global cultures, offering lessons in community building and cultural synthesis for the modern world. Conclusion. The dawn of Islam around 632 CE transformed the Arabian Peninsula into a beacon of faith and unity, sparking a global expansion that reshaped human history. Archaeological evidence from Mecca, Medina, and early Islamic sites like Fustat reveals the religious, political, and cultural foundations of this movement. The Quran's teachings and the Rashidun Caliphs' leadership united Homo sapiens under a shared vision, reflecting their capacity for innovation and coordination. This pivotal moment set the stage for Islam's profound impact, as we explore its broader implications in subsequent discussions. The rapid expansion of Islam following the Prophet Muhammad's death in 632 CE transformed the Arabian Peninsula into a launching pad for a global religious and political movement. Under the leadership of the Rashidun Caliphs, 632 to 661 CE, Muslim armies conquered vast territories from the Levant to Persia and North Africa, unifying diverse regions under a single faith and governance. These campaigns, driven by religious zeal, strategic military prowess, and the unification of Arab tribes, capitalized on the weakened Byzantine and Sasanian empires. This exploration delves into the military strategies, political consolidation, and archaeological evidence of the Rashidun conquests, highlighting their role in forging a unified Islamic world and their significance in shaping Homo sapiens' interconnected history. The rise of the Rashidun Caliphate. Following Muhammad's death, the Muslim community faced the challenge of maintaining unity among the Arabian tribes, many of whom wavered in their allegiance. Abu Bakr, the first caliph, 632 to 634 CE, swiftly consolidated power through the Ridda Wars, 632 to 633 CE, which subdued rebellious tribes and reaffirmed Islamic authority across Arabia. This unification, rooted in the spiritual foundation established by Muhammad chapter 1, created a cohesive political and military force ready for expansion. The Rashidun Caliphs Abu Bakr, Umar 634–644 CE, Uthman 644 to 656 CE, and Ali 656 to 661 CE, leveraged Arabia's tribal military traditions, channeling them into disciplined campaigns against neighboring empires. The Byzantine Empire, weakened by internal strife and wars with Persia, and the Sasanian Empire, exhausted by prolonged conflict, were vulnerable to the mobile, motivated Muslim armies. The Caliph's leadership, combining religious conviction with strategic governance, propelled Islam's rapid spread, unifying conquered regions under a shared faith. Military strategies and conquests. The Rashidun conquests were characterized by swift, strategic campaigns that capitalized on speed, discipline, and adaptability. The Levant and Mesopotamia. The Battle of Yarmouk, 636 CE, fought under Umar's caliphate, was a decisive victory against the Byzantine Empire, securing Syria and the Levant. Muslim armies, led by generals like Khalid ibn al-Walid, used mobile cavalry tactics to outmaneuver larger Byzantine forces, as recorded in early Islamic chronicles. The conquest of Mesopotamia followed, with the Battle of Al-Qadisiyah, 636 CE, defeating the Sasanian Empire, granting control over Iraq and access to Persian wealth. Egypt and North Africa. The conquest of Egypt, 639 to 642 CE, led by Amr ibn al-As, established a foothold in North Africa. The capture of Alexandria, a major Byzantine hub, provided access to Mediterranean trade routes. Archaeological evidence from Fustat, Egypt's first Islamic capital, approximately 641 CE, shows early mosques and administrative buildings, indicating rapid consolidation of Muslim rule. By the late 7th century, Muslim forces reached the Maghreb, laying the groundwork for the Umayyad conquest of Spain, Persia, and beyond. The defeat of the Sasanian Empire at the Battle of Nahavand, 642 CE, secured Persia. With cities like Ctesiphon falling to Muslim armies, the conquests extended into Central Asia, reaching the Indus Valley by 712 CE under the Umayyads. Inscriptions and coins from these regions bear Arabic script, reflecting the spread of Islamic governance. These campaigns, driven by religious zeal and strategic brilliance, unified diverse regions under the caliphate, creating a vast empire within decades. Archaeological and historical evidence. Archaeological evidence illuminates the Rashidun conquests and their unifying impact. In Syria, the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, approximately 715 CE, built on a former Byzantine church site, reflects the integration of conquered territories into Islamic governance. Coins from the Rashidun period, found in Iraq and Syria, feature Arabic inscriptions and Islamic symbols like the Shahada, indicating administrative unification. These coins, transitioning from Byzantine and Sasanian designs, show the rapid adoption of Islamic iconography. In Egypt, excavations at Fustat reveal early Islamic settlements with mosques, pottery, and glassware, suggesting a swift establishment of Muslim communities. The Great Mosque of Kairwan in Tunisia, approximately 670 CE, marks Islam's westward expansion, with its minaret and courtyard design, symbolizing unified architectural traditions. In Persia, inscriptions from sites like Istoka show the integration of local elites into Islamic administration, reflecting political consolidation. Early Quranic manuscripts, such as fragments from the Sana manuscripts approximately 7th century, provide evidence of the faith's spread, with standardized texts distributed across conquered regions. These artifacts highlight the rapid unification of diverse cultures under Islam's religious and political framework. Political consolidation and unity. The Rashidun Caliphs unified their empire through a combination of religious authority and administrative innovation. The Caliph, as both spiritual and political leader, ensured loyalty through the Quran's teachings, emphasizing equality among Muslims. The jizya tax, levied on non-Muslims, supported the empire's economy, as seen in administrative records from Iraq. The appointment of governors, such as Amr ibn al-As in Egypt, ensured centralized control, while local elites were often integrated into the administration, as evidenced by Persian inscriptions. The establishment of garrison cities, like Fustat and Kufa, facilitated military and administrative control, unifying diverse regions under Islamic rule. These cities, with their mosques and markets, became centers of cultural and economic exchange, fostering a shared Islamic identity across ethnic groups, from Arabs to Persians and Berbers. Cognitive and social ingenuity. The conquests and unification required significant cognitive and social skills. The strategic planning of campaigns, as recorded in chronicles, reflects Homo sapiens' capacity for tactical innovation and adaptability. Chapter 1, Homo sapiens series. The coordination of armies across vast regions demanded communication, likely through Arabic and proto-writing, as discussed in Chapter 4 of the Homo sapiens series. The integration of diverse cultures required diplomatic skills, ensuring stability in conquered territories. Socially, the emphasis on equality among Muslims, rooted in Quranic teachings, transcended tribal divisions, fostering a unified Ummah community. The establishment of administrative systems, as seen in coins and inscriptions, reflects a sophisticated bureaucracy that unified the empire, setting a precedent for later caliphates. As broader significance, the conquests and unity achieved under the Rashidun Caliphs laid the foundation for a global Islamic civilization. The rapid expansion, from Arabia to Spain, created a multicultural empire that influenced science, art, and trade, as explored in later discussions. The model of centralized governance and cultural integration set a standard for later empires, from the Umayyads to the Ottomans, shaping global history. The legacy of this unification continues to resonate, with Islam's emphasis on community and justice influencing modern societies. The ability to unite diverse regions under a shared faith offers lessons for contemporary global cooperation and cultural synthesis. Conclusion: the conquests and unity of the Rashidun Caliphs, beginning around 630 to CE, transformed Islam into a global force, unifying diverse regions under a shared faith. Archaeological evidence from Fustat, the Umayyad Mosque, and early coins reveals the rapid consolidation of Muslim rule. These efforts reflect Homo sapiens' strategic and social ingenuity, creating a foundation for a multicultural empire. The legacy of this unification continues to shape global culture, as we explore its broader implications in subsequent discussions. The spread of Islam, beginning around 632 CE, was not only driven by military conquests and religious zeal but also propelled by the dynamic force of trade, which carried Islamic culture, goods, and ideas across continents. From the Arabian Peninsula, Muslim merchants established extensive trade networks along the Silk Road, Indian Ocean, and Mediterranean, connecting regions as distant as East Africa, India, China, and Europe. These networks, built on the economic foundations of the Rashidun and Umayyad Caliphates, facilitated the exchange of goods, knowledge, and faith, creating a global Islamic civilization. This exploration delves into the mechanisms, archaeological evidence, and broader implications of trade in the spread of Islam, highlighting its role in shaping Homo sapiens' interconnected world. The economic foundations of Islamic trade. The Arabian Peninsula, even before Islam, was a hub of commerce due to its strategic location at the crossroads of Asia, Africa, and Europe. Cities like Mecca and Medina thrived as trade centers, linking the Silk Road to Indian Ocean routes. The unification of Arabia under Islam in 632 CE, as discussed in Chapter 1, strengthened these networks. As the Rashidun Caliphs 632 to 661 CE consolidated economic resources, the conquests of the Levant, Persia, and Egypt Chapter 2 provided access to fertile agricultural lands and bustling ports, boosting the caliphate's economic power. The Umayyad Caliphate, 661 to 750 CE, further expanded trade, establishing a standardized currency, the Islamic dinar, which facilitated commerce across vast regions. Archaeological evidence of trade networks. Archaeological discoveries illuminate the scope of Islamic trade networks. In Basra and Siraf, Persian Gulf ports, excavations have uncovered Chinese ceramics, Indian spices, and East African ivory, dating to the 7th–8th centuries, indicating long-distance trade. The Great Mosque of Kairwang in Tunisia, approximately 670 CE, contains imported marble and mosaics, reflecting Mediterranean trade connections. Coins from the Rashidun and Umayyad periods, found from Spain to Central Asia, bear Arabic inscriptions and standardized weights, evidencing a unified economic system. In East Africa, sites like Kilwa and Manda, 8th century yield Islamic dinars and Chinese porcelain, marking the spread of Muslim merchants along the Swahili coast. In China, the Weisheng Mosque in Guangzhou, approximately 7th century, and Islamic tombstones indicate early Muslim trading communities. In Spain, the Great Mosque of Cordoba, 785 CE, features imported materials, showcasing trade links with North Africa. These artifacts highlight the global reach of Islamic trade, connecting diverse regions under a shared economic and cultural framework. Mechanisms of trade-driven expansion. Islamic trade networks operated through several key mechanisms. Maritime trade. The Indian Ocean and Mediterranean provided vital trade routes. Ports like Basra, Siraf, and Aden became hubs for goods like spices, textiles, and precious metals. The Diary of a Muslim Merchant, 9th century, describes voyages to India and China, carrying Islamic teachings alongside goods. Shipwrecks, such as the Bulletin wreck approximately 826 CE off Indonesia, containing Chinese ceramics and Islamic artifacts, evidence these maritime networks. Overland trade. The Silk Road connected the Islamic world to Central Asia and China. Caravanserais like those at Ray in Persia provided rest stops for merchants, as seen in their stone foundations and inscriptions. The Sogdian traders, adopting Islam, spread the faith to Samarkand and Bukhara, with mosques and Islamic coins marking their presence by the 8th century. Merchant communities. Muslim merchants established diaspora communities in ports like Chuanzhou in China and Kilwa in East Africa, building mosques and spreading Islamic practices. These communities, as evidenced by Islamic tombstones and trade goods, acted as cultural ambassadors, integrating local populations into the Islamic world through commerce and intermarriage. Cultural and economic impacts. Trade was a catalyst for cultural exchange, spreading Islamic art, architecture, and ideas. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus adopted Byzantine mosaics, while the Great Mosque of Cordoba incorporated Visigothic elements, reflecting cultural synthesis. Arabic, as the language of trade in the Quran, became a lingua franca, as seen in inscriptions on coins and buildings, facilitating communication across regions. Economically, trade enriched the caliphate, with taxes like zakat and gisya supporting infrastructure, as evidenced by administrative records from Iraq. Urban centers like Baghdad and Cordoba became economic hubs, fostering cosmopolitan societies with diverse populations, as seen in the pottery and glassware of Fustat. The Islamic dinar, standardized across the empire, stabilized commerce, enabling trade from Spain to India. Cognitive and social ingenuity. The trade networks required significant cognitive and social skills. Navigating maritime and overland routes demanded knowledge of geography, astronomy, and meteorology, as seen in navigational texts like those of Ibn Majid, later centuries. The establishment of trade communities required diplomatic skills, integrating diverse cultures under Islamic principles, as discussed in Chapter 4 of the Homo sapiens series. Socially, trade fostered a sense of global community, uniting Muslims and non-Muslims in economic exchange. The inclusivity of Islamic trade, allowing non-Muslims to participate as dhimmis, promoted cultural integration, as seen in the diverse artifacts of Kilwa and Cordoba. This social cohesion, rooted in shared economic goals, strengthened the Islamic world's resilience. Broader significance. The power of trade in spreading Islam created a global civilization, connecting East and West through commerce and culture. The networks established, from the Silk Road to the Indian Ocean, foreshadowed modern globalization, as seen in the spread of goods and ideas. The economic stability of the caliphate, supported by trade, enabled cultural and scientific advancements, as discussed in later explorations, influencing the Renaissance and beyond. The legacy of Islamic trade continues to shape modern economies, with port cities like Dubai echoing ancient hubs like Basra. The emphasis on cultural exchange offers lessons for contemporary global cooperation, highlighting Homo sapiens' capacity for connectivity and innovation. Conclusion. The power of trade, beginning around 630 to CE, was a driving force in the spread of Islam, carrying faith, goods, and ideas across continents. Archaeological evidence from Basra, Karawang, and Cordoba reveals the vast networks that unified diverse regions under Islamic culture. These efforts reflect Homo sapiens' economic and social ingenuity, creating a global civilization that continues to influence modern societies. The legacy of Islamic trade offers insights into connectivity and cultural synthesis, as we explore its broader implications in subsequent discussio. The spread of Islam, beginning around 630 to CE, was not merely a religious and military phenomenon but a profound cultural transformation that reshaped the societies it touched. As Muslim armies and merchants expanded from the Arabian Peninsula to the Levant, North Africa, Persia, and beyond, they encountered diverse cultures: Byzantine, Persian, Visigothic, and others, blending Islamic principles with local traditions to create a vibrant, multicultural civilization. This cultural synthesis, evident in architecture, art, governance, and intellectual life, fostered a dynamic Islamic identity that unified diverse regions. This exploration delves into the mechanisms, archaeological evidence, and broader implications of cultural synthesis in the spread of Islam, highlighting its role in shaping Homo sapiens' interconnected world and enduring cultural legacy. The foundations of cultural synthesis: the rapid expansion of Islam under the Rashidun 632 to 661 CE and Umayyad Caliphates 661 to 750 CE, as discussed in chapters 1 and 2, brought Muslim rulers into contact with sophisticated civilizations. The Byzantine Empire, with its Greco-Roman heritage, and the Sasanian Empire, with its Persian traditions, offered rich cultural legacies in art, architecture, and administration. Rather than imposing a monolithic culture, Islamic leaders adopted and adapted local practices, creating a synthesis that blended Islamic monotheism with regional aesthetics and systems. This synthesis was facilitated by Islam's inclusive policies. Non-Muslims, or dhimmis, were allowed to practice their faiths under Islamic rule, paying the jizya tax, which encouraged cultural coexistence. The Quran's emphasis on knowledge and justice, combined with the economic prosperity from trade, chapter 3, provided a framework for integrating diverse traditions. This adaptability, rooted in Homo sapiens' cognitive flexibility, enabled Islam to create a multicultural empire that resonated across continents. Archaeological evidence of cultural synthesis. Archaeological discoveries across the Islamic world illuminate the depth of cultural synthesis in Syria. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, approximately 715 CE, built on the site of a Byzantine church, incorporates Roman columns and intricate mosaics depicting paradise-like scenes, blending Islamic and Greco-Roman aesthetics. The mosque's minaret, an innovation of Islamic architecture, reflects a synthesis of local and Arabian influences, as seen in its square base derived from Christian church towers. In Spain, the Great Mosque of Cordoba, 785 CE, exemplifies cultural fusion, with its horseshoe arches, inspired by Visigothic designs, and mosaics crafted by Byzantine artisans. The mosque's expansive prayer hall and mihrab, adorned with Arabic calligraphy, integrate Islamic spirituality with local artistry. Excavations in Egypt at Fustat, the first Islamic capital, approximately 641 CE, reveal pottery, glassware, and textiles that blend Arab, Coptic, and Byzantine styles, indicating a thriving multicultural hub. In Persia, sites like Istaka and Susa yield Sasanian-style stucco work alongside Islamic inscriptions, reflecting the integration of Persian artistic traditions into Islamic architecture. Coins from the Umayyad period, found across the empire, combine Arabic script with Byzantine and Sasanian iconography, evidencing administrative synthesis. These artifacts highlight how Islamic culture absorbed and transformed local traditions, creating a unified yet diverse aesthetic. Mechanisms of cultural synthesis. The cultural synthesis of Islam was driven by several key mechanisms. Architectural adaptation. Muslim architects adapted local building techniques to create distinctive Islamic structures. The Umayyad Mosque's use of Roman columns and Byzantine mosaics reflects a blend of classical and Islamic elements, while the Great Mosque of Karawang, approximately 670 CE, in Tunisia, incorporates Roman stonework with an Islamic courtyard design. These adaptations, as seen in archaeological remains, preserved local heritage while introducing Islamic innovations like the minaret and mihrab. Artistic integration. Islamic art synthesized local styles with Quranic aesthetics. Calligraphy, as seen in the Dome of the Rock, approximately 691 CE, transformed Arabic script into a decorative art form, while arabesque patterns drew on Persian and Byzantine motifs. Excavations in Cordoba reveal mosaics and tiles that blend Visigothic and Islamic designs, creating a unique visual language that spread across the empire. Administrative borrowing. Islamic governance integrated Byzantine and Sasanian systems. The Umayyad administration adopted Persian bureaucratic practices, such as tax records, as seen in papyri from Egypt. The jizya tax system, allowing non-Muslims to maintain their faiths, fostered coexistence, as evidenced by Christian and Jewish communities in this administrative synthesis unified diverse regions under Islamic rule, promoting stability. Cultural and social impacts. Cultural synthesis created a vibrant Islamic identity that transcended ethnic boundaries. The adoption of Arabic as a lingua franca, seen in inscriptions and manuscripts, facilitated communication and cultural exchange across the empire, from Spain to Central Asia. The House of Wisdom in Baghdad, approximately 8th century, discussed in later explorations, translated Greek, Persian, and Indian texts, integrating diverse intellectual traditions into Islamic scholarship. Socially, cultural synthesis fostered cosmopolitan societies. Urban centers like Baghdad, Cordoba, and Fustat became melting pots of Arab, Persian, Berber, and European cultures, as seen in diverse pottery and textiles. The inclusivity of Islamic rule, allowing dhimmis to participate in trade and governance, encouraged intermarriage and conversion, strengthening social cohesion. This multiculturalism, rooted in Islamic principles of justice, created a unified yet diverse empire. Cognitive and organizational ingenuity. The cultural synthesis required significant cognitive and organizational skills. Adapting local architectural and artistic styles demanded creativity and technical knowledge, as seen in the precise mosaics of Cordoba. The translation of texts and integration of administrative systems reflect Homo sapiens' capacity for intellectual synthesis, as discussed in Chapter 1 of the Homo sapiens series. The use of Arabic for communication, as evidenced by early manuscripts, required linguistic coordination, likely involving proto-writing. Chapter 4, Homo sapiens series. Organizing multicultural societies demanded diplomatic skills, as seen in the integration of Persian elites in Islam. The establishment of mosques as cultural and religious centers, as evidenced by Kairwan, required planning and coordination, reflecting a sophisticated organizational framework that unified diverse communities. Broader significance. The cultural synthesis of Islam created a global civilization that bridged East and West, influencing art, architecture, and governance. The architectural innovations, like the minaret, shaped global styles, from Moorish Spain to Mughal India. The integration of diverse intellectual traditions laid the foundation for the Renaissance, as Greek texts preserved in Arabic reached Europe. The multicultural societies established, as seen in Baghdad and Cordoba, offer lessons for modern pluralism and cultural exchange. The legacy of this synthesis continues to shape global culture, with Islamic art and architecture inspiring modern designs. The emphasis on inclusivity and knowledge provides insights into fostering cooperation. In today's interconnected world, conclusion. The cultural synthesis of Islam, beginning around 630 to CE, transformed diverse regions into a unified civilization, blending Islamic principles with local traditions. Archaeological evidence from the Umayyad Mosque, Cordoba, and Fustat reveals a vibrant fusion of art, architecture, and governance. This synthesis reflects Homo sapiens' creativity and adaptability, creating a legacy that continues to influence global culture. The impact of this cultural fusion offers insights into unity and diversity, as we explore its broader implications in subsequent discussions. The spread of Islam, beginning around 630 to CE, not only transformed the religious and cultural landscape but also ignited an intellectual revolution that reshaped human knowledge. At the heart of this transformation was the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, established during the Abbasid Caliphate, approximately 8th century, which became a global center for scholarship, preserving and advancing knowledge from diverse civilizations. By translating Greek, Persian, and Indian texts and fostering original research, this institution propelled advancements in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy, cementing Islam's role as a beacon of learning. This exploration delves into the origins, contributions, and archaeological evidence of the House of Wisdom, highlighting its significance in the spread of Islam and its enduring impact on Homo sapiens' intellectual legacy. The origins of the House of Wisdom. The House of Wisdom Beit al-Hikmah was founded in Baghdad under the Abbasid Caliphate, 750 to 1258 CE, likely during the reign of Caliph Harun al-Rashid, approximately 786 to 809 CE, and expanded under Alman, approximately 813 to 833 CE. As Islam expanded across the Middle East, Persia, and North Africa, as discussed in chapters 2 and 3, Muslim scholars encountered the intellectual legacies of the Byzantine, Persian, and Indian civilizations. The Quran's emphasis on knowledge and reason, coupled with the cultural synthesis of these regions. Chapter 4, inspired the Abbasids to establish a center dedicated to preserving and advancing this knowledge. Baghdad, the Abbasid capital, was a cosmopolitan hub, enriched by trade networks. Chapter 3: Archaeological and Historical Evidence. While the physical remains of the House of Wisdom were largely destroyed during the Mongol invasion of Baghdad in 1258 CE, historical records and archaeological evidence provide insights into its significance. Manuscripts from the Abbasid period, such as those preserved in libraries in Istanbul and Cairo, include translations of Greek works by Aristotle, Plato, and Euclid, as well as Persian and Indian texts on astronomy and mathematics. These manuscripts, bearing Arabic annotations, reflect the House of Wisdom's role as a translation hub. Excavations in Baghdad reveal remnants of Abbasid-era structures, including libraries and administrative buildings, with inkpots, papyrus fragments, and scientific instruments like astrolabes. Inscriptions from mosques and madrasas in Baghdad, such as the Mustansiriya Madrasa, approximately 1234 CE, indicate a culture of learning that continued the house's legacy. Papyri from Egypt, such as those found in Fustat, document scholarly exchanges, with references to translations and scientific discussions, suggesting connections to the House of Wisdom. Artifacts like astrolabes and mathematical treatises, found across the Islamic world from Spain to Central Asia, bear the influence of the house's scholarship. For example, Al-Khwarizm's texts on algebra, preserved in later manuscripts, originated in this intellectual environment, highlighting its global reach. Contributions to knowledge. The House of Wisdom made significant contributions to various fields. Mathematics. Scholars like Al-Khwarizm, approximately 780 to 850 CE, developed algebra, with his work Al-Quinte Arfi, ISB Aljaber. Wal-Muqbala, introducing systematic problem-solving. The adoption of Indian numerals, later known as Arabic numerals, revolutionized mathematics, as seen in manuscripts preserved in Cairo. These advancements influenced European mathematics during the Renaissance. Astronomy. Astronomers at the house, such as al-Battani, approximately 850 to 929 CE, refined Ptolemy's geocentric model, improving calculations of planetary orbits. The Baghdad Observatory, linked to the house, produced star catalogues, as evidenced by surviving astronomical tables. Astrolabes found in archaeological sites reflect the precision of Islamic astronomy. Medicine. Ibn Sina, Avicenna, approximately 980 to 1037 CE, influenced by the house's legacy, compiled the Canon of Medicine, a comprehensive medical text that synthesized Greek, Persian, and Islamic knowledge. Manuscripts of this work, preserved in Istanbul, guided medical practice in Europe until the 17th century. Philosophy. Scholars like Al-Farabi, approximately 870 to 950 CE, integrated Aristotelian philosophy with Islamic theology, producing treatises on ethics and metaphysics. These works, preserved in later libraries, bridged classical and Islamic thought, influencing medieval European philosophy. Cultural and intellectual impacts. The House of Wisdom fostered a culture of intellectual curiosity and cultural synthesis. By translating texts from Greek, Persian, and Indian traditions, it preserved knowledge that might have been lost, such as Euclid's geometry and Galen's medical works. This synthesis, as discussed in Chapter 4, created a shared intellectual heritage that unified the Islamic world. From Spain to Central Asia, Arabic, as the language of scholarship, facilitated this exchange, as seen in the widespread distribution of manuscripts. The institution's emphasis on reason and inquiry, rooted in Quranic teachings, encouraged debate and innovation, fostering a cosmopolitan intellectual community. Scholars from diverse backgrounds, Arabs, Persians, Christians, and Jews collaborated, as evidenced by the multilingual annotations in manuscripts. This intellectual culture influenced later centers of learning, such as the universities of Cordoba and Cairo, shaping global knowledge traditions. Cognitive and social ingenuity. The House of Wisdom required significant cognitive and social skills. Translating complex texts demanded linguistic and analytical expertise, as seen in the meticulous annotations of Greek works. The development of algebra and astronomy required mathematical and observational skills. Reflecting Homo sapiens' cognitive advancements. Chapter 1, Homo sapiens series. The organization of a scholarly institution, coordinating diverse researchers, required administrative skills, as evidenced by papyri documenting funding and resources. Socially, the house fostered a collaborative environment, uniting scholars across ethnic and religious lines. This inclusivity, supported by the DIMI system allowing non-Muslims to participate, created a vibrant intellectual community, as seen in the diverse artifacts of Baghdad. The transmission of knowledge, through manuscripts and teaching, ensured the house's legacy endured, influencing later civilizations. Broader significance, the House of Wisdom was a cornerstone of the Islamic Golden Age, preserving and advancing knowledge that shaped the modern world. Its translations laid the foundation for the Renaissance. As Greek texts reached Europe via Arabic translations, the advancements in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine influenced global science. From medieval universities to modern research, the institution's model of collaborative scholarship inspired later centers of learning, such as Oxford and Bologna. The legacy of the House of Wisdom continues to resonate, with Arabic numerals and medical texts shaping modern science and education. Its emphasis on reason and inclusivity offers lessons for fostering innovation in today's interconnected world, highlighting Homo sapiens' capacity for intellectual synthesis. Conclusion: the House of Wisdom, established in the 8th century, transformed the Islamic world into a beacon of knowledge, preserving and advancing scholarship during the spread of Islam. Archaeological evidence from manuscripts, astrolabes, and Baghdad's ruins reveals its role as a global intellectual hub. The contributions of scholars like Al-Khwarizmi and Ibn Sina reflect Homo sapiens' ingenuity, shaping science and culture for centuries. The house's legacy continues to inspire, offering insights into the power of knowledge as we explore its broader implications in subsequent discussions. The spread of Islam, beginning around 630 to CE, was not only a religious and intellectual movement but also a transformative force in architecture, producing some of the most iconic structures in human history. As Muslim armies and merchants expanded across the Middle East, North Africa, and Europe, they built mosques, palaces, and civic buildings that blended Islamic aesthetics with local traditions, creating a distinctive architectural legacy. Structures like the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, the Great Mosque of Kairouan in Tunisia, and the Alhambra in Spain reflect the technological ingenuity and cultural synthesis of Islamic civilization. This exploration delves into the architectural achievements, archaeological evidence, and broader implications of these marvels, highlighting their role in spreading Islam and shaping Homo sapiens' built environment. The architectural vision of Islam. The rapid expansion of Islam under the Rashidun and Umayyad Caliphs, as discussed in chapters 2 and 3, brought Muslim builders into contact with sophisticated architectural traditions, Byzantine, Persian, and Gothic. Rather than erasing these influences, Islamic architects integrated them with Quranic aesthetics, emphasizing symmetry, geometric patterns, and spiritual symbolism. Mosques, as centers of worship and community, became the primary expression of this vision, featuring elements like minarets, domes, and expansive courtyards that symbolized unity and devotion. The construction of these buildings was supported by the economic prosperity of the Islamic Empire, fueled by trade networks. Chapter 3: Archaeological evidence of Islamic architecture. Archaeological sites across the Islamic world provide vivid evidence of architectural achievements. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, approximately 715 CE, built on a former Byzantine church site, features Roman columns, intricate mosaics depicting paradise, and a towering minaret, reflecting a synthesis of Islamic and Greco-Roman styles. Its expansive prayer hall and courtyard, uncovered in excavations, highlight its role as a community hub. The Great Mosque of Kairouan in Tunisia, approximately 670 CE, one of the earliest Islamic structures, showcases a square and marble columns repurposed from Roman ruins, as seen in archaeological remains. Its large courtyard and hypostyle hall, designed for communal worship, set a standard for mosque architecture. In Spain, the Great Mosque of Córdoba, 785 CE, features horseshoe arches, ornate stucco work, and a mihrab adorned with gold mosaics, reflecting a blend of Islamic and Visigothic aesthetics. As evidenced by preserved architectural elements, the Alhambra in Granada, 13th century, built under the Nasrid dynasty, represents a later pinnacle, with its intricate tilework, arabesque patterns, and the Court of the Lions, as seen in ongoing excavations. In Persia, The Friday Mosque of Isfahan, approximately 8th century, incorporates Sasanian-style iwans and domes, blending Islamic and Persian traditions. These sites collectively demonstrate the architectural innovation and cultural synthesis that defined Islamic expansion. Key architectural features and techniques. Islamic architecture introduced several distinctive features and techniques. Minarets and domes. The minaret, a tall tower for the call to prayer, became a hallmark of Islamic architecture, as seen in Kairwan Square minaret, likely inspired by Byzantine church towers. Domes, such as the Dome of the Rock's Golden Dome approximately 691 CE, symbolized the heavens, blending Persian and Byzantine influences. These features, constructed with brick and stone, required advanced engineering, as evidenced by their structural stability. Hypostyle halls and courtyards. Mosques like Cordoba and Kairwan feature hypostyle halls, with rows of columns supporting flat roofs, allowing large congregations to gather. Courtyards, surrounded by arcades, provided spaces for communal activities, as seen in archaeological layouts. These designs, adapted from Roman and Persian architecture, facilitated worship and social cohesion. Decorative arts. Islamic architecture emphasized arabesque patterns, geometric tiles, and calligraphy, as seen in Cordoba's mihrab and Alhambra's stucco work. These decorations, avoiding human figures per Islamic tradition, used mathematical precision to create intricate designs, reflecting advanced geometric knowledge, as discussed in Chapter 5. Construction techniques. Builders used local materials, such as marble in Kairwan and brick in Isfahan, combined with imported elements like Byzantine mosaics in Damascus. Techniques like corbelled arches and Meccana's stalactite vaulting, as seen in Alhambra, required skilled craftsmanship, evidenced by tool marks and construction debris. These methods blended local and Islamic engineering, creating durable structures, cultural and social impacts. The architectural marvels of Islam were more than functional, they were symbols of faith and unity. Mosques like the Umayyad Mosque served as community hubs, fostering social cohesion across diverse populations, as discussed in Chapter 4. The integration of local styles, such as Visigothic arches in Cordoba, created a shared cultural identity that bridged Arab, Persian, and European traditions, strengthening the Islamic Empire's cohesion. These structures also had cultural significance. Calligraphy on mosque walls, bearing Quranic verses, reinforced Islamic spirituality, while geometric patterns symbolized cosmic order, aligning with the intellectual advancements of the House of Wisdom. Chapter 5. The construction of grand mosques and palaces, funded by trade wealth, elevated the status of architects and artisans, contributing to social hierarchies, as discussed in the Agricultural Revolution series. Cognitive and technical ingenuity. The creation of Islamic architectural marvels required significant cognitive and technical skills. Designing complex structures like the Alhambra's Court of the Lions demanded advanced geometry and engineering, as evidenced by precise The construction of domes and minarets required knowledge of structural mechanics, ensuring stability, as seen in the enduring Dome of the Rock. These skills reflect Homo sapiens' cognitive advancements. Chapter 1, Homo sapiens series. The coordination of large-scale construction, as seen in Kairwan's marble columns, required organizational skills, with architects and laborers working together. As discussed in Chapter 4 of the Homo sapiens series, the transmission of architectural knowledge through apprenticeships and texts ensured the spread of these techniques across the Islamic world. Broader significance. The architectural marvels of Islam set a global standard, influencing styles from Moorish Spain to Mughal India. The minaret and arabesque designs inspired European Gothic and Renaissance architecture, as seen in Spain's Alhambra-inspired palaces. The emphasis on communal spaces, like mosque courtyards, influenced urban planning, shaping cities like Baghdad and Cordoba. The legacy of Islamic architecture continues to resonate, with modern mosques and buildings drawing on its geometric and decorative traditions. The cultural synthesis embodied in these structures offers lessons for contemporary design, emphasizing harmony and inclusivity in a globalized world. Conclusion. The architectural marvels of Islam, from the Umayyad Mosque to the Alhambra, transformed the built environment, reflecting the cultural and technical ingenuity of the Islamic world. Archaeological evidence from Kairwan, Cordoba, and Isfahan reveals a synthesis of Islamic and local traditions, unifying diverse regions. These structures highlight Homo sapiens' capacity for innovation and cultural expression, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to inspire. Their broader implications, explored in subsequent discussions, underscore the enduring impact of Islamic architecture on global heritage. The spread of Islam, beginning around 630 to CE, was a transformative force that unified diverse regions through conquest, trade, and cultural synthesis. Central to this unification was the Arabic language, which, as the language of the Quran, became a powerful tool for religious, administrative, and cultural cohesion across the Islamic world. From the Arabian Peninsula to Spain, Central Asia, and beyond, Arabic served as a lingua franca, facilitating governance, commerce, and intellectual exchange, while fostering a shared Islamic identity. This exploration delves into the role of Arabic in unifying the Islamic Empire, the archaeological and historical evidence of its impact, and its broader significance in shaping Homo sapiens' interconnected global civilization. Arabic, as the language of the Quran. Arabic, rooted in the tribal dialects of the Arabian Peninsula, became the sacred language of Islam, with the revelation of the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad in the early 7th century. The Quran's eloquent prose and poetic structure, as seen in early manuscripts like the Sana manuscripts approximately 7th century, elevated Arabic to a divine status, unifying the Arab tribes under a common linguistic and religious framework. By 632 CE, following Muhammad's death, the Quran's codification under Caliph Uthman, approximately 650 CE, standardized Arabic, ensuring its consistency across the growing Muslim community. Umayyad, the Rashidun, 632 to 661 CE, and Umayyad Caliphs, 661 to 750 CE, leveraged Arabic to consolidate their empire. As discussed in chapters 2 and 4, as Islam spread to the Levant, Persia, North Africa, and Spain, Arabic transcended its regional origins, becoming a unifying force that bridged diverse ethnic groups, Serbs, Persians, Berbers, and others through a shared language of faith. Archaeological and historical evidence. Archaeological and historical evidence highlights Arabic's unifying role. The Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, approximately 691 CE, bears some of the earliest Islamic inscriptions, with Arabic calligraphy, proclaiming the Shahada Islamic profession of faith, marking the language's centrality in religious expression. Coins from the Rashidun and Umayyad periods, found across Syria, Iraq, and Spain, feature Arabic script alongside Byzantine and Sasanian designs, reflecting the transition to a unified administrative language. In Egypt, papyri from Fustat, approximately 641 CE, document administrative records, tax receipts, and letters in Arabic, indicating its use in governance. The Great Mosque of Karawang in Tunisia, approximately 670 CE, features Quranic verses in Kufic script, evidencing Arabic scroll in religious architecture. In Persia, inscriptions at Istakhr and Susa combine Arabic with local languages, showing linguistic integration. Early Quranic manuscripts, such as the Umayyad Codex, distributed across the empire, demonstrate Arabic's role in standardizing religious texts. In trade hubs like Basra and Sirof, Arabic inscriptions on pottery and trade goods, alongside Chinese ceramics, highlight its use in commerce. These artifacts, spanning from Spain to Central Asia, underscore Arabic's role as a unifying language across the Islamic world. Mechanisms of linguistic unification. Arabic's role in unifying the Islamic Empire operated through several mechanisms. Religious standardization. The Quran's codification under Uthman ensured a standardized Arabic text, as seen in the Sana manuscripts. This standardization, distributed to mosques and communities, unified religious practices across regions, from Cordoba to Samarkand. Arabic recitation of the Quran became a universal practice, fostering a shared spiritual identity, as evidenced by inscriptions in early mosques. Administrative cohesion. Arabic became the administrative language of the Caliphate, replacing Greek and Persian in regions like Syria and Persia. Papyri from Fustat show tax records and legal documents in Arabic, ensuring consistent governance. The Umayyad administration's use of Arabic, as seen in coins and inscriptions, streamlined communication across diverse regions, unifying the empire's bureaucracy. Commercial exchange. Arabic facilitated trade across the Silk Road and Indian Ocean. As discussed in Chapter 3, merchants used Arabic for contracts and inscriptions, as seen in trade goods from Kilwa and so, the Islamic dinar, inscribed with Arabic, standardized commerce, enabling economic cohesion from Spain to India. Cultural and social impacts. Arabic's role as a lingua franca had profound cultural and social impacts. It fostered a shared Islamic identity, uniting diverse ethnic groups under a common language. The spread of Arabic calligraphy, as seen in the Umayyad mosques, mosaics, and Cordoba Esmirab, transformed the language into an art form, influencing global artistic traditions. Poetry, building on pre-Islamic Arabian traditions, flourished, with works like those of al-Mutsnabi, celebrating Islamic values. Socially, Arabic promoted equality among Muslims, transcending tribal and ethnic divisions, as seen in the multicultural communities of Baghdad and Cordoba. The daimi system allowed non-Muslims to engage in Arabic-based trade and administration, fostering integration, as evidenced by diverse artifacts in Start. The language's spread facilitated intellectual exchange, as seen in the House of Wisdom, Chapter 5, where Arabic translations unified knowledge from Greek, Persian, and Indian traditions. Cognitive and linguistic ingenuity. Arabic's role as a unifying language required significant cognitive and linguistic skills. Standardizing the Quran demanded literacy and textual analysis, as seen in early manuscripts. Translating diverse languages into Arabic, as evidenced in House of Wisdom texts, required linguistic expertise. Reflecting Homo sapiens' cognitive advancements. Chapter 1, Homo sapiens series. The development of calligraphy and Kufic script involved artistic and mathematical precision, as seen in mosque inscriptions. The spread of Arabic across regions required communication skills, likely involving bilingual scribes, as discussed in Chapter 4 of the Homo sapiens series. The organization of linguistic education, through madrasas like the Must and Syria, ensured the language's dissemination, fostering a shared cultural identity. Broader significance. Arabic's role as the language of unity created a global Islamic civilization, connecting diverse regions through faith, governance, and commerce. Its influence on calligraphy, poetry, and scholarship shaped global cultural traditions, from Moorish Spain to Mughal India. The standardization of Arabic laid the foundation for the Renaissance, as translated texts reached Europe, influencing science and philosophy. The legacy of Arabic as a unifying language continues to resonate, with over 400 million speakers today. Its role in fostering cultural and intellectual exchange offers lessons for modern globalization, highlighting Homo sapiens' capacity for linguistic and cultural synthesis. Conclusion. Arabic, as the language of the Quran, unified the Islamic world from 630 to CE, fostering religious, administrative, and commercial cohesion. Archaeological evidence from the Dome of the Rock, Fustat, and Kairouan reveals its transformative impact. This linguistic unity reflects Homo sapiens' ingenuity in creating a shared identity across diverse regions. The legacy of Arabic continues to shape global culture, offering insights into unity and exchange, as we explore its broader implications in subsequent discussions. The spread of Islam, beginning around 632 CE, was a transformative force that reshaped not only religious and cultural landscapes, but also the social structures of the regions it touched. As Islam expanded from the Arabian Peninsula to the Levant, North Africa, Persia, and beyond, it unified diverse ethnic groups, fostered cosmopolitan urban centers, and introduced new social hierarchies and roles. This social transformation, driven by the religious unity of the economic prosperity from trade and cultural synthesis, created a dynamic, multicultural Islamic society. This exploration delves into the mechanisms, archaeological evidence, and broader implications of these social transformations, highlighting their role in shaping Homo sapiens' interconnected world during the early Islamic era. The social fabric of early Islam. The emergence of Islam under the Prophet Muhammad and the subsequent leadership of the Rashidun, 632 to 661 CE, and Umayyad Caliphs, 661 to 750 CE, as discussed in chapters 1 and 2, created a unified community, ummah based on shared faith rather than tribal or ethnic ties. The Quran's emphasis on equality among Muslims, regardless of origin, broke down traditional Arabian tribal divisions, fostering a sense of collective identity. As Islam spread through conquest and trade, chapters 2 and 3, it integrated diverse groups, Arabs, Persians, Berbers, and others into a cohesive social framework. This social cohesion was supported by the economic prosperity of the Islamic Empire, fueled by trade networks. Chapter 3: Archaeological evidence of social change. Archaeological discoveries across the Islamic Empire provide vivid evidence of social transformations. In Egypt, excavations at Fustat, approximately 641 CE, the first Islamic capital, reveal a bustling urban center with mosques, markets, and residential areas containing pottery, glassware, and textiles from Arab, Coptic, and Byzantine origins. These artifacts indicate a multicultural society where diverse groups coexisted, unified by Islamic governance. In Syria, the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, approximately 715 CE, served as a social hub, with its large courtyard hosting communal gatherings, as evidenced by inscriptions and architectural layouts. In Spain, the Great Mosque of Córdoba, 785 CE, reflects a cosmopolitan society, with its intricate mosaics and arches crafted by Muslim, Christian, and Jewish artisans, as seen in preserved stucco work. In Persia, sites like Istakhr and Susa yield artifacts blending Sasanian and Islamic styles, indicating the integration of Persian elites into Islamic society. Coins from the Rashidun and Umayyad periods, found across the empire, bear Arabic inscriptions alongside local designs, reflecting a unified economic and social system. Papyri from Fustat document tax records and legal contracts, showing how Islamic governance integrated diverse populations. These artifacts highlight the social transformations that unified the Islamic world under a shared identity. Mechanisms of social transformation. The social transformations of early Islam were driven by several key mechanisms. Religious unity, the concept of the Ummah, emphasizing equality among Muslims, transcended ethnic and tribal divisions. The Quran's call for justice and charity, as seen in early manuscripts, fostered social cohesion, uniting Arabs, Persians, and Berbers. Mosques, like the Great Mosque of Kairwan, approximately 670 CE, served as communal spaces for worship and social interaction, reinforcing this unity, as evidenced by their expansive courtyards. Urbanization. The establishment of garrison cities like Fustat, Kufa, and Basra transformed social structures by creating urban hubs. These cities, with markets and administrative centers, as seen in Fustat's pottery and glassware, attracted diverse populations, fostering cosmopolitan societies. Urbanization, supported by trade wealth. Chapter 3, created new social roles, from merchants to scholars, as discussed in Chapter 5. Inclusive policies. The dhimmi system allowed non-Muslims, Christians, Jews, and Zoroastrians to practice their faiths under Islamic rule, paying the jizya tax. This inclusivity, documented in papyri from Egypt, encouraged cultural integration and conversion, as seen in the diverse communities of Córdoba. Intermarriage and social interaction, evidenced by mixed artifacts, further unified societies. Cultural and social impacts. The social transformations fostered a vibrant Islamic identity. The spread of Arabic as a lingua franca, as discussed in Chapter 7, facilitated communication and social cohesion across diverse regions. The construction of mosques, like Córdoba and Kairwan, created spaces for communal activities, strengthening social bonds. The integration of local traditions, as seen in the Umayyad Mosque's mosaics. Chapter 4, created a multicultural identity that unified the empire. Socially, the emphasis on equality among Muslims reduced tribal hierarchies, though new elites, merchants, scholars, and governors emerged, as evidenced by inscriptions honoring officials. The House of Wisdom in Baghdad. Chapter 5, fostered intellectual communities, uniting scholars from diverse backgrounds. These transformations created a dynamic society that balanced unity with diversity, shaping the Islamic world's resilience. Cognitive and organizational ingenuity. The social transformations required significant cognitive and organizational skills. Integrating diverse populations demanded diplomatic and administrative expertise, as seen in papyri documenting governance. The establishment of urban centers required urban planning and resource allocation, as evidenced by Fustat's layout. These skills reflect Homo sapiens' cognitive advancements. Chapter 1. Homo sapiens series, enabling the coordination of complex societies. The transmission of social norms, through Arabic education and mosque teachings, required communication skills. likely involving proto-writing Chapter 4, Homo sapiens series. The organization of diverse communities, as seen in Cordoba's multicultural artifacts, highlights Homo sapiens' ability to foster unity through shared faith and governance. Broader significance. The social transformations of early Islam created a multicultural empire that influenced global societies. The model of inclusive governance, seen in the Daimi system, set a precedent for pluralistic societies, from medieval Spain to the Ottoman Empire. The urban centers established, like Baghdad and Cordoba, foreshadowed modern cosmopolitan cities, shaping urban planning and social organization. The legacy of these transformations continues to resonate, with Islam's emphasis on community influencing modern multicultural societies. The balance of unity and diversity offers lessons for contemporary global cooperation, highlighting Homo sapiens' capacity for social innovation. Conclusion. The social transformations driven by the spread of Islam, beginning around 632 CE, unified diverse regions into a vibrant, multicultural empire. Archaeological evidence from Fustat, Cordoba, and Kairouan reveals the integration of Arabs, Persians, and others through shared faith and urban life. These transformations reflect Homo sapiens' ingenuity in creating cohesive societies, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to shape global culture. The impact of this social unity offers insights into diversity and cooperation, as we explore its broader implications in subsequent discussions. The spread of Islam, beginning around 632 CE, was a transformative phenomenon that rapidly expanded from the Arabian Peninsula to create a vast empire, reshaping the religious, cultural, and social landscapes of the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond. This remarkable expansion, driven by the Rashidun and Umayyad Caliphs, stands in contrast to the contemporaneous Byzantine and Sasanian empires, which were overtaken by Islamic forces. By comparing the mechanisms, cultural synthesis, and societal organization of Islam's spread with these rival empires, we gain insights into the unique dynamism of the early Islamic civilization. This exploration examines the archaeological and historical evidence of these comparisons, highlighting the distinctive features of Islamic expansion and its broader significance for Homo sapiens' global interconnectedness. The context of Islamic expansion. The Islamic Empire, unified under the Rashidun Caliphs 632 to 661 CE and expanded by the Umayyad Caliphs 661 to 750 CE, grew with unprecedented speed, conquering the Levant, Persia, Egypt, and North Africa within a century. As discussed in chapters 1 and 2, this expansion was fueled by religious zeal, strategic military campaigns, trade networks, chapter 3, and cultural synthesis, chapter 4. The House of Wisdom, chapter 5, and architectural achievements, chapter 6, further solidified Islam's global influence, creating a multicultural empire unified by Arabic, chapter 7, and social transformations, chapter 8. In contrast, the Byzantine Empire, centered in Constantinople, and the Sasanian Empire, based in Persia, were established powers with centuries-old traditions of governance, culture, and military might. Their decline, due to internal strife and prolonged wars, provided an opportunity for Islam's rapid rise. Comparing these empires reveals the unique factors that enabled Islam's success and its lasting impact. Archaeological and historical evidence. Archaeological evidence highlights the contrasts between the Islamic Empire and its rivals. In Syria, the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, approximately 715 CE, built on a former Byzantine church, incorporates Roman columns and mosaics, reflecting Islam's adaptive reuse of existing structures. Unlike the Byzantines' static architectural traditions, coins from the Rashidun and Umayyad periods, found in Syria and Iraq, transition from Byzantine and Sasanian designs to Arabic script, indicating a swift administrative shift not seen in the slower evolving Byzantine coinage. In Egypt, excavations at Fustat, approximately 641 CE, reveal early Islamic settlements with mosques and diverse artifacts, contrasting with the Byzantines' fortified cities like Alexandria, which prioritized defense over cultural integration. In Persia, sites like Istok show Islamic inscriptions alongside Sasanian stucco work, evidencing cultural synthesis absent in the Sasanians' rigid Zoroastrian framework. Early Quranic manuscripts, such as the Sana manuscripts, approximately 7th century, demonstrate Islam's rapid textual standardization, unlike the Byzantines' slower Christian canonization. Comparative analysis, military strategies, Islamic conquests, such as the Battle of Yarmouk, 636 CE, and Battle of Al-Qadisiyah, 636 CE, relied on mobile cavalry and religious motivation, as discussed in Chapter 2. The Byzantine Empire, with its heavy infantry and fortified cities, was less agile, as seen in its defeat at Yarmouk. The Sasanian Empire, reliant on elite cavalry cataphracts, was weakened by internal divisions, making it vulnerable at battles like Nahavand, 642 CE. Islam's decentralized, motivated armies allowed rapid expansion. Unlike the bureaucratic, overstretched forces of its rivals. Cultural synthesis. Islam's cultural synthesis, as seen in the Umayyad Mosque and Great Mosque of Cordoba, Chapter 4, integrated Byzantine, Persian, and Visigothic traditions, creating a dynamic, multicultural identity. The Byzantine Empire, while culturally rich, maintained a rigid Christian identity, resisting external influences, as evidenced by its static church architecture. The Sasanian Empire, tied to Zoroastrianism, showed limited cultural adaptation, as seen in its uniform palace designs at Ctesiphon. Islam's inclusive dime system encouraged cultural integration, fostering a broader appeal. Societal organization. The Islamic Empire's Ummah promoted equality among Muslims, unifying diverse ethnic groups, as discussed in Chapter 8. The Byzantine Empire, with its hierarchical aristocracy, maintained strict social divisions, as seen in elite burials in Constantinople. The Sasanian Empire, centered on a Zoroastrian elite, excluded non-Persians, limiting social cohesion. Islam's urban centers like Fustat and Baghdad, with diverse artifacts, reflect a cosmopolitan society. Unlike the Byzantines' fortified cities, or Sasanians' centralized courts, intellectual contributions. The House of Wisdom, Chapter 5, made Islam a global intellectual hub, translating Greek, Persian, and Indian texts. The Byzantine Empire preserved Greek texts, but focused on theology, as seen in Christian manuscripts, with less innovation. The Sasanian Empire had scholarly centers, but its decline halted progress, as evidenced by limited surviving texts. Islam's emphasis on knowledge, seen in Al-Khwarizm's algebra, outshone its rivals' intellectual output. Cognitive and organizational ingenuity. Islam's expansion required remarkable cognitive and organizational skills. Coordinating conquests and trade across continents demanded strategic planning and communication, as seen in the diary of a Muslim merchant and papyri from Fustat, reflecting Homo sapiens' cognitive advancements. Chapter 1, Homo sapiens series. The integration of diverse cultures required diplomatic skills, as discussed in Chapter 4 of the Homo sapiens series, surpassing the Byzantines' bureaucratic rigidity and Sasanians' exclusivity. The establishment of urban centers and administrative systems, as seen in Fustat and Kufa, showcased organizational ingenuity, unifying diverse populations under Islamic governance. This contrasts with the Byzantines' centralized control and Sasanians' feudal structure, highlighting Islam's adaptability. Broader significance. Islam's expansion, compared to the Byzantine and Sasanian empires, underscores its unique dynamism, blending religious zeal, cultural synthesis, and inclusive governance. This model influenced later empires, from the Ottomans to the Mughals, shaping global history. The intellectual and cultural contributions, preserved through Arabic. Chapter 7, laid the foundation for the Renaissance. Unlike the Byzantines' theological focus or Sasanians' decline, the legacy of Islam's expansion continues to shape modern multicultural societies, offering lessons in adaptability and unity. Its ability to integrate diverse regions highlights Homo sapiens' capacity for global cooperation, relevant to today's interconnected world. Conclusion. The spread of Islam, beginning around 632 CE, surpassed the Byzantine and Sasanian empires in dynamism and inclusivity, as evidenced by sites like Fustat, Umayyad Mosque, and Cordoba. Its rapid conquests, cultural synthesis, and societal organization reflect Homo sapiens' ingenuity, creating a global civilization. The comparison with rival empires underscores Islam's unique impact, offering insights into unity and innovation, as we explore its broader implications in subsequent discussions. The spread of Islam, beginning around 630 to CE, was a transformative force that reshaped human history, forging a global civilization that connected the Arabian Peninsula to Europe, Africa, and Asia through military conquests, trade networks, cultural synthesis, and intellectual advancements. As discussed in previous chapters, Islam unified diverse regions under a shared faith and identity, from the establishment of the Ummah to the architectural marvels of mosques and the scholarly achievements of the House of Wisdom. This expansion left an indelible mark on culture, science, and society. This exploration delves into the lasting legacy of Islam's spread, supported by archaeological evidence, and reflects on its relevance in shaping modern global perspectives and Homo sapiens' interconnected world. A global cultural legacy. The spread of Islam created a vibrant, multicultural civilization that blended Arabian, Persian, Byzantine, and other traditions, as explored in Chapter 4. This cultural synthesis produced enduring contributions in art, architecture, and literature. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus and the Great Mosque of Cordoba, with their intricate mosaics and arches, introduced architectural innovations like the minaret and arabesque patterns, influencing styles from Moorish Spain to Mughal India. Calligraphy, as seen in Quranic inscriptions, became a universal art form, shaping global artistic traditions, as evidenced by preserved manuscripts and mosque decorations. Islamic poetry and literature, building on pre-Islamic Arabian traditions, flourished with works like those of Al-Mutanabbi, preserved in manuscripts from Baghdad and Cairo. These cultural achievements, disseminated through trade networks. Chapter 3, transcended regional boundaries, influencing European Renaissance art and literature. The legacy of this cultural fusion continues to resonate, with Islamic architectural motifs inspiring modern designs, such as the arabesque patterns in contemporary buildings, and calligraphy remaining a vibrant art form across the Muslim world. Scientific and intellectual contributions. The intellectual advancements of the Islamic Golden Age, centered in institutions like the House of Wisdom. Chapter 5, had a profound impact on global knowledge. Scholars like Al-Khwarizmi, who developed algebra, and Ibn Sina, whose canon of medicine guided medical practice for centuries, preserved and expanded Greek, Persian, and Indian knowledge. Arabic numerals, adopted from Indian systems, revolutionized mathematics, as seen in manuscripts preserved in Istanbul and Cairo. These contributions, translated into Latin during the Middle Ages, sparked the European Renaissance, influencing figures like Fibonacci and Copernicus. Astronomical advancements, such as Al-Batani's precise planetary calculations, and medical innovations, like Al-Razi's smallpox studies, shaped modern science. Archaeological evidence, including astrolabes and mathematical treatises from Baghdad and Cordoba, underscores the global reach of Islamic scholarship. This intellectual legacy continues to influence modern mathematics, medicine, and astronomy, with Arabic terms like algebra and zenith embedded in global scientific vocabulary. Economic and trade influence. The trade networks established during Islam's expansion. Chapter 3 created a global economic system that connected East and West. Ports like Basra, Aden, and Kilwa facilitated the exchange of goods, spices, textiles, and ceramics across the Indian Ocean and Silk Road, as evidenced by artifacts like Chinese porcelain and Islamic dinars. The Islamic dinar, standardized across the empire, stabilized commerce, as seen in coin hoards from Spain to Central Asia, foreshadowing modern global currencies. These trade networks laid the foundation for globalization, linking regions from China to Europe. The economic prosperity of urban centers like Baghdad and Cordoba, as seen in their markets and administrative records, supported cultural and intellectual advancements. The legacy of these networks persists in modern trade hubs like Dubai, which echo ancient ports, and in global trade systems that continue to connect diverse economies. Social and political transformations. The social transformations of Islam's spread. Chapter 8 created a multicultural empire that unified diverse ethnic groups, Arabs, Persians, Berbers, and others under the Ummah, the dhimmi system, allowing non-Muslims to participate in society. Fostered inclusivity, as evidenced by diverse artifacts in Fustat and Cordoba. This model of pluralism influenced later empires, such as the Ottomans and Mughals, and continues to shape modern multicultural societies, with over 1.9 billion Muslims worldwide, sharing a global identity. Politically, the centralized governance of the caliphates using Arabic as a lingua franca. Chapter 7 set a precedent for bureaucratic systems, as seen in papyri from Fustat. This administrative efficiency influenced European governance during the Middle Ages, contributing to modern state structures. The emphasis on justice and equality in Islamic governance offers lessons for contemporary political systems striving for inclusivity. Archaeological evidence of legacy. Archaeological evidence underscores the enduring legacy of Islam's spread. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus and Great Mosque of Barwang, with their preserved mosaics and minarets, reflect architectural influences that continue to shape modern designs. Manuscripts from the House of Wisdom, preserved in Istanbul and Cairo, document scientific advancements that influenced global knowledge. Trade artifacts, such as Islamic dinars and Chinese ceramics in Kilwa, highlight the economic networks that connected continents. The Great Mosque of Cordoba and Alhambra, with their intricate tilework and arches, remain cultural landmarks, drawing millions of visitors and inspiring heritage preservation. Early Quranic manuscripts, like the Sana manuscripts, demonstrate the enduring spiritual legacy of Islam, shaping religious practices across the Muslim world. These artifacts collectively highlight the lasting impact of Islam's expansion on global culture and knowledge. Modern relevance and challenges. The legacy of Islam's spread remains profoundly relevant today. The architectural and artistic traditions, from minarets to calligraphy, inspire modern designs, seen in mosques and cultural centers worldwide. The scientific contributions of the Islamic Golden Age underpin modern disciplines, with universities continuing to study texts like Ibn Sina's canon. The trade networks established in the 7th century foreshadow modern globalization, with economic connectivity shaping global markets. However, the legacy also presents challenges. The inclusivity of early Islamic societies offers lessons for modern multiculturalism, but historical tensions, such as those during conquests, highlight the complexities of integration. The environmental impact of urban centers, like Baghdad, parallels modern sustainability concerns, urging reflection on balancing growth with stewardship. The enduring presence of Islam's cultural and intellectual contributions encourages dialogue on fostering global cooperation and innovation. Broader significance. The enduring legacy of Islam's spread lies in its creation of a global civilization that unified diverse regions through faith, culture, and knowledge. Its influence on architecture, science, and trade shaped the Renaissance and modern world. From algebraic principles to global trade systems, the social and political models of inclusivity and governance offer insights into building cohesive societies relevant to today's interconnected world. As one of the most transformative events in human history, the spread of Islam reflects Homo sapiens' capacity for cultural synthesis, intellectual advancement, and global connectivity. Its legacy continues to inspire, challenging us to harness collective ingenuity for a shared future. Conclusion. The spread of Islam, beginning around 630 to CE, left an enduring legacy that reshaped human history, as evidenced by the Umayyad Mosque, House of Wisdom, and trade artifacts. Its contributions to culture, science, and society unified diverse regions, influencing global traditions from the Renaissance to the present. This legacy reflects Homo sapiens' capacity for innovation and connectivity, offering lessons for modern challenges. The impact of Islam's spread continues to shape our world, as we explore its significance in the broader context of human achievement.